Hi guys, my name is Nina and I usually have a channel on TikTok and YouTube that talks about addiction, domestic violence, and basically trying to teach people the skills that I wasn't taught growing up. But I really love the spooky, the paranormal, and I follow a channel called Homesteading Off the Grid. And normally, Crazy Lake will get on there and he'll tell these stories and he'll read these emails that people send him about the paranormal encounters that they've had. And I've been thinking about this for a while because he doesn't read the emails that people send him very much anymore. And I love those emails because it makes me feel less alone. I don't really have anybody in my life. I don't really have family. So hearing those emails, listening to those stories when I'm at work or when I'm driving home from work, they just make me feel less alone. So I thought, well, why can't I, read some stories that people have told me? My grandmother actually used to grow up in Appalachia and she's told me a ton of stories. And I'm actually where my office space is, there's a wooded area. And I think that that's kind of creepy. And I would just love to hear your guys' stories. If you have any stories, my email is spookynews@yahoo.com, SPOOKYNEWS@yahoo.com. If you guys want to email me your stories and let me know that I can use them and put them on the channel, I'll read them. Just make sure you give me permission. And I have a couple stories that some family and friends have told me I'm going to read those. But there was one that came across the news a few weeks ago in my area in Monroe, Michigan. There was a father and son that was hunting in a swamp area, which I didn't even know Michigan had swamps, but I guess we do. And the news says father and son had credible Bigfoot encounter in Michigan swamp. And then it says Monroe County, Michigan, an account in which a father and son claim to have had a Bigfoot encounter in southwest Michigan has been deemed credible. I guess there's an organization that actually it's the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization. Yes, it's real, a Bigfoot organization, which I mean it makes sense. There's tons of people that have seen things that are unexplainable. The pair claimed to have seen something strange in a swampy forest near I-75 in Monroe County on May 18th. The father said they were both fishing near Plum Creek and the railroad bridges when his dog startled something that was bedding in the marsh. He heard rustling in the tree to the left and a huge thud hitting the ground from the tree. A big head bee animal hit the ground and crouched and started moving towards him through the brush. That's what he said. My dog fired off from the right of me towards the creature. The dog almost got to it, but the creature shot off extremely fast through the trees and the brush. The dog chased the creature up the slope and over the train tracks. He then called for his dog to come back. It was as big as a bear and looked like a gorilla. How scary. We walked back, but we heard something crunching on the ground behind us. We left with a quickness. The Bigfoot Research Organization investigator Matthew Moneymaker said he spoke with both father and son, finding both credible and freshly descriptive about what happened. How creepy is that? Can you imagine just being out in the swamp hunting? I mean, you expect to see something, right? You're out there in the middle of nowhere. Like I said, I grew up in Michigan. I live in Michigan now, but I did not know that there were swamp areas. And I used to go out to Monroe all the time where the quarry is, and people would jump in and swim in the quarry, but I didn't know there was like marsh area out there. But I mean, that's just super creepy. Moneymaker, the host of Finding Bigfoot on Animal Planet, said he asked many questions about the Class A encounter, which I guess that's what they're calling it. I did look underneath there's a link to where you can go to the Bigfoot organization and it lists all these sightings that people have had all over the world, and you can click on them and it'll tell you that it's a Class A, Class B, Class C, and it'll tell you what the encounter. There's some of them on there that people have heard howling. There's some of them on there with pictures. It's a lot of stories are really, really creepy. um Let's see. Moneymaker, the co-host of Finding Bigfoot on Animal Planet, said he asked many questions about the Class A encounter, enough to rule out the animal being a bear. He noted deer are known to be in the area, which apparently are a favorite Bigfoot food. There are lots of cattails around the marsh as well, the report said. There are two things Bigfoots consume, especially in the winter: cattails and deer. There are likely other food sources around the marsh as well. Railroad tracks in the area also support a sighting, Moneymaker said. Since Bigfoots will walk along the railroad beds for long distances, the railroad beds will sometimes bring them into pockets of woods very close to towns, as is the case. According to the BFRO, Bigfoot sightings are relatively common in Michigan. Oh, I didn't know that either, with 226 sightings reported to the organization. Only California, Florida, Illinois, Ohio, Oregon, Texas, and Washington have a whopping 725 reports more. Believe it or not, you can read the complete report on the website. How crazy is that? I mean, it's not really crazy, it's just super creepy. I couldn't imagine thinking I've seen Bigfoot. Like I said, I've had a lot of experiences. Most of them have been super unexplained. I lived in Florida for a while, and we lived in a country part of Florida, and it was really creepy. It was like a suburb of like the country area. Actually, it was called Fountain. It was like 40 minutes away from Panama City Beach, but there was a lot of stuff out there that was just so creepy at night. You would hear howls. You didn't know what kind of animal it was, especially from being from Michigan. You never know what's in these other areas. So that is just the first story of my new little mission. So if you guys want to have your stories read or your experiences read or anything that you've crossed paths with being paranormal or Bigfoot related or the aliens, and for a while there everybody was talking about the fog and all kinds of stuff. If you want me to share anything, go ahead and send me it. Once again, spookynews@yahoo.com. SPOOKYNEWS@yahoo.com. I mean, I really miss the emails he used to read and people sharing their experiences, and just made me feel less alone. So I would like to do my own reading and, see if we can get a channel going like that. Maybe we can find some other stories to talk about. Maybe we can duet people, go off on a little bit different area than Mr. Crazy Lake did, but I just really miss his stories. So email me, guys. Bye.